So let's start with a really big question. Who actually owns your digital self? Your logins, your data, all that online reputation you've built up. It's something we don't think about enough. Today, we're going to dive into a new way of thinking about this, a project called UIID. That's UIID. We're looking at their latest version, 1.7, to see how they're trying to build a future where the answer to that question is finally you. Think about it. Right now, your identity is just scattered everywhere. It's a bunch of different accounts with a handful of giant tech companies. We're basically just renting our digital lives from them. But the whole idea behind UII and the future they're aiming for is a complete flip from that messy, scattered model to one where you, and only you, hold the key to your own secure digital vault. All right, so before we can even talk about the fix, we got to really understand the problem we're all dealing with every single day. Let's dig into the mess that is our current digital identity. Does any of this sound familiar? Juggling a million different passwords, your personal info being locked away in dozens of separate company databases, silos that are just waiting for the next big data breach. And the fundamental business model of the internet where your data isn't just there, it is the product. It's a system that's built to serve advertisers first, not you. Ultimately, they're the ones in control. But what if we could just flip that whole model on its head? This brings us to the core concept behind UID's entire approach, this idea of a personal digital vault. So think of it like this. Instead of creating a new account on every website and every service, you have one central vault that lives right on your own device. That's where your identity is stored, and you just grant services permission to check it. You don't hand it over to them. And here's the absolute key. You are the single source of truth for who you are online. Okay, but here's where it gets really clever. How do you manage both privacy and trust at the same time? Well, it's not just one single identity. The UIID system is built on this really smart two-part structure. You have a verified core ID, and then you have unlimited anonymous aliases. So first up, you've got your core ID. This is your foundation. Think of it as your digital passport, the verified real you. And you only use this for the high-stakes stuff, where you absolutely have to prove who you say you are, like getting a bank loan or some kind of official application. And then for pretty much everything else, you use an alias. And you can make as many of these as you want. Each one is a totally separate, anonymous identity that you can spin up for specific things, one for gaming, one for your social media, another for drop-in comments on forums. They prove you're real without ever exposing your core ID to the public. And this chart just shows you exactly how that works in the real world. Applying for a mortgage? Yeah, that's going to need the serious trust of your core ID. But logging into some new game or joining a discussion online, you just use a separate anonymous alias for each one. You get to have access, you get to build a reputation, but you do it without spraying your personal info all over the internet. Now, this whole system rests on a few really important principles. First, total user control. It all happens in that vault on your device. Second, privacy by design. And this is huge. Unlike a lot of other systems you might hear about, your personal info is never stored on a public blockchain. The public ledger is just used to prove your ID exists, not what's in it. This means your private data can't get stuck out there forever. And finally, portability. Your identity isn't trapped on one platform. It belongs to you and it goes where you go. Okay, so that's the big idea, the theory. Now let's get into the fun stuff and see how this is actually becoming a reality. The latest release, version 1.7, introduces some killer features that make this whole concept of digital freedom a lot more practical. One of the biggest hurdles for any new system like this is that cold start problem, right? How do you show up with a brand new identity and prove you're not a bot? Well, UID 1.7 is tackling this head on by letting you bridge your existing online life from what we call Web 2 into this new user-controlled world. For developers, this is a game changer. They can now migrate their hard-earned GitHub profile right into their UID vault. It's super straightforward. You just connect your profile, prove you own it, and then import that reputation. You're basically bringing all that value you already built into your new self-owned identity. It's a real bridge from the old internet to the next one. So the next big update is all about making this system useful day to day. How do you quickly and securely share a little piece of your identity with someone, whether you're standing right in front of them or you're online? Well, they've done it with enhanced alias sharing using QR codes. You can just generate a QR code for any of your aliases to share just the public info you want to instantly. And the tagline really says it all: scan to share, not to stalk. I love that. It's all about permission. You're giving someone exactly what they need without handing over the keys to your entire digital kingdom. And look, at the end of the day, powerful tech doesn't matter if it's impossible for normal people to use, right? That's why version 1.7 also comes with a complete redesign of the whole user interface. As Linksbreed, the team behind UIID, puts it, the goal was a modern, sleek, and fresh aesthetic. And this isn't just about looking cool or futuristic. It's about making this really powerful idea, managing your own decentralized identity, feel simple, intuitive, and maybe even enjoyable. It's about making sure everyone can get on board with this. So you can see, these features aren't just small, incremental updates. They're all deliberate steps toward a much bigger destination. They're the building blocks for what the UID team is calling Web4, their vision for the next evolution of the internet. And the vision for this next-gen internet is, well, it's pretty transformative. We're talking about an internet where passwords are just a relic of the past, because your vault is your key. An internet where you truly own and control your own data. And maybe most profoundly, an internet where you can be both anonymous and trusted, because you're the one who gets to choose what to reveal and when. And this brings us right back to where we started. When we talk about digital identity, what we're really talking about is digital freedom. It really forces us to ask ourselves, what is our autonomy in this digital world actually worth to us? So I'll just leave you with this final thought to chew on. The system we have now is built on us constantly having to prove who we are, over and over again, to dozens of different companies. But what if that burden was just gone? If your identity was simply, securely, and truly yours, what would that unlock? If you no longer had to prove who you are, what could you become?